A seven-time Super Bowl champion just slapped a WWE star live on stage. After months of trading shots, Tom Brady and Logan Paul finally came face-to-face at Fanatics Fest. But was that slap just a stunt, or the first step toward a real WWE match? Keep watching because the answer could change Brady's future. Friday afternoon, Jacob Javits Center, New York City. Tom Brady and Logan Paul are sitting on the same stage for a panel called "This Is Why We Collect." Nothing about it screams confrontation. It's a memorabilia panel. Cards, jerseys, nostalgia. Then the panel ends. The beef between Tom Brady and Logan Paul continues, and on Friday, the future NFL Hall of Famer and YouTuber turned WWE superstar shared the stage at Fanatics Fest in New York. But when their panel ended, the sports stars got into a heated exchange. That ended with Brady slapping Paul in the face. Not a shove, not a shout, an actual open-hand slap, delivered by a guy whose right arm just spent 2 decades throwing touchdown passes. Standing right between them, close enough to feel the wind off it, was Knicks star Karl-Anthony Towns. Karl-Anthony Towns and Chris Costa quickly stepped in to help break things up before things got out of hand. Towns wasn't a bystander here, he was inches away when it happened. Brady's right hand struck Paul right in the face so strongly that it could likely be heard from every seat in the building. And Towns had a first-row seat to the action, standing literally inches away from Brady and Paul as tensions flared. He physically wedged himself into the middle of it. He separated them and prevented the scuffle from reaching another level. Chris Costa, the collector and Fanatics personality hosting the panel, jumped in right alongside Towns. 2 grown men had to physically pull Tom Brady and Logan Paul apart on a stage built for talking about trading cards. Paul's reaction was instant and loud. In the clip, you can hear him yelling for someone to get Brady away from him, warning that Brady was going to get himself hurt. In one clip after the slap, Paul can be heard telling someone to get your boy repeatedly, before adding, "Take him out of here, bro. He's going to get himself hurt. I swear to God." Other angles caught the same plea from a different position, with Paul asking to be pulled away in the opposite direction. WWE also posted its own angle of the confrontation, in which Paul could be heard saying, "Yo, get your boy. Get your boy, bro, get your boy, take him that way, he's going to get himself hurt." Then came the online part, which somehow got messier than the stage itself. Paul posted the clip to his own account with a message blaming the whole thing on the fact that he'd been ribbing Brady about a flag football loss. Paul also shared the footage to his X account, writing, "This happened BC, I was roasting Tom for beating him in flag football, and he tries to smack me. Horrible example for the kids, or a -100 blocked with a torn tricep." Brady didn't apologize, he didn't even really engage with the torn tricep jab. He just reposted the whole thing and called Paul a nerd, then followed it with a caption that's now the internet's favorite one-word response. The 7-time Super Bowl champ shared footage of the altercation on X, calling Paul a dork. He'd already fired back once before that with a shot about the flag football result too, referencing the loss and taking a jab at Paul in the process, per multiple outlets covering the exchange. Within hours, the video wasn't just a viral clip, it was a WWE branded one. WWE shared footage of the viral moment on its official X account, which shows the 48-year-old retired NFL star slapping the 28-year-old influencer. In a tense moment at Fanatics Fest 2026 in New York City, that's not nothing. WWE doesn't put its logo on a random celebrity scuffle unless it wants that scuffle to mean something later. And the numbers backed up how fast this thing traveled. Fanatics posted the clip on social media, with Brady, Paul, WWE, and the NFL as collaborators on Instagram. And the footage went viral instantly, with more than 17.5 million views on Instagram and 6.9 million on X. That's not a niche wrestling audience clicking play. That's NFL fans, WWE fans, and pure internet chaos seekers all colliding on the same 15-second video. Here's the part that made it more than just a funny clip though. The day before the slap, Brady had already said out loud on a podcast that he wanted a spot in WWE. So when the slap actually happened less than 24 hours later, a lot of people didn't see 2 guys losing their tempers. They saw a storyline starting to write itself in real time. As one report framed it, it came one day after Brady openly asked WWE to find him a match. And whether the slap was scripted or improvised, Brady suddenly has the opponent and storyline he claimed to be waiting for. That's the moment, a legendary quarterback, a WWE champion, a Knicks all-star trying to play peacekeeper, and a crowd of cameras catching every second of it. The question now isn't whether this happened, it clearly did. The question is what it's building toward. This didn't come out of nowhere. Brady and Paul have been circling each other since February. And if you go back through it, you can watch the temperature rise step by step. It started with a comment. The rivalry between Tom Brady and Logan Paul began earlier this year during a Fanatics event in February, when Paul claimed that his WWE career made him just as athletic as NFL players. Brady, a guy who spent 2 decades getting hit by actual NFL linebackers, was not amused. Brady was unconvinced by the comparison, and the exchange quickly turned into a war of words. Paul didn't back down. He doubled and tripled down, at one point comparing his in-ring moves set directly to elite NFL skill players, asking whether a star running back could pull off a top rope flip the way he could. "I am the highest level," Paul said. "I am the level, great athlete. Bro, can Saquon Barkley do a flip off the top rope? Have you not seen me moonsault over someone's head?" Brady's response to that whole thing was blunt. He said he'd had a great morning, and now he was mad. Then it got physical, sort of. Not a slap yet, just a football. Brady and Paul first clashed before playing against one another during the 2026 Fanatics Flag Football Classic in March. Before the game even kicked off, at the actual draft for the event, Brady took a shot at Paul's credentials, needling him for leaning on old high school stats to justify the athlete comparison. The two faced off again at the draft for the Fanatics Flag Football event, during which Brady called out Paul for citing his high school football stats in his argument. Brady wasn't just talking trash before the whistle, either. He'd warned Paul directly that if he wasn't careful, that ball was coming his way. "You might wear a helmet minus that ball might get loose in my hand, and if you're not paying attention." Brady told Paul at the draft ahead of the flag football game, and then he actually followed through once the game started. The NFL legend made good on his pre-game threat and did throw the ball at Paul during the game back in March. Here's the twist, though: Paul's side actually won that day. Paul's Wildcats defeated Brady's Founders team, though Team USA won the event overall. Paul made sure everyone knew it, milking the win and mocking Brady for weeks afterward, even releasing a mock apology video aimed squarely at him. Paul later released an "I'm sorry" video aimed at Brady and others, continuing the celebration after the tournament. To Brady's credit, he didn't act bitter about the loss itself. He actually complimented how Paul had prepped and performed. Brady still praised Paul's preparation and performance afterward, but that compliment didn't slow the public back and forth. That compliment clearly had an expiration date, because the trash talk never actually stopped. It just kept getting recycled, a podcast jab here, an X post there, building toward whatever came next. And a full month before the flag football game even happened, the two had already sat across from each other with a microphone between them, on Paul's own show. A month prior to the Flag Football Classic, Brady appeared on an episode of Paul's podcast, Impulsive. That conversation is worth pausing on, because it's where Brady first drew the athletic line in the sand. He didn't say Paul was bad, he said Paul was good. Just not good enough to hang with actual NFL players on a football field. During the conversation, Brady said he was worried Paul wouldn't be able to keep up, calling him a good athlete while the other players are on another level. Paul predictably took that personally. Paul immediately became defensive, saying, "This guy's insane, the audacity of Tom Brady, I can't believe it. Wins 7 Super Bowls, thinks he could just go around and talk about this flag football game like it's gonna be the Pro Bowl." So by the time Fanatics Fest rolled around in July, this wasn't two strangers bumping into each other on a stage. This was 5 months of build-up, a comment about athleticism, a podcast jab, a flag football grudge match, a mock apology, a repeated back and forth on social media, all funneling into one room, one panel, one slap. And notice what's missing from that timeline: any actual physical contact. Every single escalation before Friday had been verbal, or at worst, a football tossed a little too hard on purpose. The slap wasn't the start of something. It was the moment 5 months of joying finally ran out of words. To understand why the slap landed the way it did, why people immediately started talking about SummerSlam and WrestleMania, instead of just laughing it off, you have to rewind to what Brady said just one day earlier. Sitting across from Cody Rhodes, Brady showed up as a guest on Rhodes' live podcast taping at Fanatics Fest, and the conversation drifted, almost naturally, toward WWE itself. Brady didn't dodge it, he leaned in. "I need to get an invite. I've been waiting for Nick Khan to come up with some storyline for me to get in the mix." Brady said during a live appearance on Cody Rhodes' "What Do You Want to Talk About" podcast. Then he kept going, laying out exactly why he thought it made sense for him specifically. "I feel like I'm retired from football. I have an opportunity to go out there and still showcase that I'm a little bit of an athlete. My boy Gronk's done it. I've seen obviously Logan Paul do it. I think I can get in there for at least one match." Notice who he name-dropped there, not just Paul, Rob Gronkowski too. His old tight end and longtime training partner, who's already dabbled in WWE-adjacent appearances himself. Brady wasn't speaking hypothetically about some far-off fantasy. He was talking about guys he actually knows personally who have already done exactly this. And then he went further than just, "I want in." He told Rhodes what kind of character he'd want to play. And it wasn't the hero. Brady said he'd probably be a heel if he were to enter the ring. "I've always been a bad guy," he explained, saying that because he was usually on winning teams. The opposing fans love to hate him. When you go on the road and you've had some success in the NFL, they don't like you. It's an incredible feeling when you work that entire day to basically try to send the crowd home early. That's not a casual answer. That's someone who has clearly thought about the psychology of a wrestling crowd, who understands on some level exactly what WWE fans want from a heel turn. A record-setting winner who spent 20 years being booed on the road, walking into a ring. Built entirely around booing the bad guy, that's a pitch a WWE creative team could sell in their sleep. Here's what makes all of this land harder, though Brady wasn't always this warm toward WWE just a few months earlier. He'd actually taken a shot at the whole product. In March, the New England Patriots legend called WWE cute. Compared to other pro sports, all their stuff is so cute and scripted, they know what's going on. That comment didn't just disappear quietly. WWE's own locker room clapped back. Several WWE stars, including Drew McIntyre and Oba Femi, called out Brady for his comments and challenged him to step inside the squared circle. Two very different kinds of performers. McIntyre, a veteran former world champion known for his sharp tongue on the mic, and Femi, one of the promotion's rising physical monsters. Both took the same message public: if it's so cute and scripted, come find out for yourself. So in the span of a few months, Brady went from mocking the business as scripted fluff to sitting next to Cody Rhodes begging Nick Khan for a storyline. Something shifted. Maybe it was the McIntyre and Femi callouts getting under his skin. Maybe it was watching Gronkowski and Paul both get their moment in a WWE ring while he stood on the sidelines. Either way, by the time he stepped on stage with Paul on Friday, Brady had already publicly opened the door himself. That's the context. That turns a slap into a storyline. This isn't a random NFL legend losing his cool at a WWE star for no reason. This is a guy who said out loud, less than 24 hours earlier, that he wanted in, and then got handed by accident or by design exactly the opponent and moment he needed. It was just yesterday when NFL legend Tom Brady expressed interest in working a match in WWE and told President Nick Khan to make it happen. Whether Khan actually orchestrated any of this behind the scenes is impossible to say for certain, but the timing, Brady's podcast comments on Thursday, the slap on Friday, WWE's own account posting the footage within hours, is the kind of sequence that doesn't happen by accident very often in professional wrestling. It happens because someone somewhere is already building toward something bigger. Here's the wrinkle in all of this. The guy Brady slapped can't actually wrestle right now. Logan Paul isn't some outsider WWE brought in for one novelty appearance. Paul made his WWE debut in April 2021. Since then, he's built a genuine in-ring resume, championship runs, pay-per-view matches, a real spot on the roster, not just a celebrity cameo. He's part of a stable called The Vision, and up until recently, he held gold as part of a tag team with Austin Theory. Then in May, everything stopped. Paul is recovering from a torn tricep suffered May 23 during his WWE World Tag Team Championship defense. With The Vision's Austin Theory, a torn tricep isn't a bruise you shake off in a week. It's a real injury, the kind that can end up needing surgery and months of rehab before someone can even think about taking a bump again. WWE didn't leave the tag titles in limbo, waiting for him either. The Vision's Braun Breaker has replaced him as Theory's partner amid his injury. That's the business moving on without him. Not permanently, but enough to make clear that Paul's spot isn't guaranteed to be sitting there waiting whenever he's ready to come back, and the recovery timeline keeps shifting depending on who you ask and when. At one point, the estimate on his own comeback was measured in months, not weeks. The reignition of the beef with Brady could provide more hype around Paul's eventual return to the ring once he recovers from an injury, he said. WWE doctors estimated would take 6 months to heal. 6 months from a May injury pushes his return well into the fall, if not later. Paul himself has gone back and forth on how close he actually is At one point he insisted, almost defiantly, that he was already fine and just needed the green light. The WWE medical team needs to tune in and medically clear me because I'm fine. I'm fine, Paul said before later amending that to, I just need another 3 to 4 months. That's a pretty significant walk back in the same breath, fine, then 3 to 4 months. It says a lot about how much Paul wants back in that ring, and how much his body might not agree with him yet. Other reporting lines up with the more cautious estimate. Not the I'm fine bravado. The WWE star is currently recovering from a torn triceps he suffered on May 23. And if you wanted to see him face Brady anytime soon, you shouldn't get your hopes up, so here's the actual state of things heading into whatever comes next. A wrestler who can talk a big game wants back in badly enough to give conflicting recovery timelines in the same sentence. And a former quarterback who just publicly slapped him while cameras rolled and then bragged about it online. That's the worst possible time for this beef to boil over. Or, it's the perfect long runway for WWE to build a slow cook angle while Paul actually heals. Because here's the thing about pro wrestling storylines: they don't need the payoff to happen next week. Sometimes the best angles are the ones that simmer. Paul gets months to heal, while Brady keeps talking. Every talk show appearance, every podcast, every social post becomes another beat in a story that doesn't need to pay off until Paul's tricep actually clears him to bump again. Maybe it's the first physical scene in a story that the WWE will continue whenever Paul is healthy enough to finish it. That's the part that makes this more interesting than a one-off viral clip. If this were just two guys clowning around for cameras with nothing on the line, WWE wouldn't need to wait. But because Paul is genuinely hurt, genuinely sidelined, and genuinely not able to step into a ring yet, the slap becomes something closer to a first chapter than a punchline. It buys time, it builds hype, and it gives Brady an entire summer and fall to keep the story warm, while Paul's arm actually catches up to his ambition. So where does all of this actually lead? WWE has a calendar that lines up almost too perfectly with this feud. SummerSlam is next month. It's one of the promotion's 4 biggest shows of the year, and it's exactly the kind of stage where a celebrity cameo, even just a quick appearance, a stare down, a video message, makes headlines well outside the usual wrestling audience. SummerSlam just happens to be next month, although that would be a quick turnaround. One popular version of how this plays out goes something like this. Paul cuts a promo, calling Brady out on Raw once he's healthy enough to appear on television again, even if he can't wrestle yet. Brady answers back, maybe through a video message, maybe live. The recipe is simple. Paul cuts a promo on Brady on WWE Raw in the coming weeks, challenging him to step up, and Brady responds via video message or on social media saying he'll bring his guys to take on the vision at SummerSlam, and voila, you have your match and a major celebrity draw if you're looking to boost ticket sales or viewership. But there's a more patient version of this too, and given Brady's actual schedule, it might be the more realistic one. He's not just a retired quarterback with free time with his duties in Fox's NFL broadcast booth. It's unlikely Brady could or would be willing to split his time between calling games and taking part in a drawn-out WWE program. That's a real scheduling problem. NFL Sundays don't pause for wrestling storylines, so the long game might look more like this. Brady gets a moment at SummerSlam, taunts Paul as the calendar turns into a new year, and the two actually step into a ring together at WrestleMania, the single biggest stage the company has. Let Brady get one up on Paul at SummerSlam, taunt him when the calendar turns to 2027, then build toward an actual match at WrestleMania 43 next spring. That's a full football season away, which conveniently solves the broadcast booth conflict entirely. There's also real skepticism baked into all of this, and it's worth sitting with. Some voices around the business have pointed out that fans still view guys like Paul as outsiders to real wrestling, no matter how good they've become in the ring. There are still those who view Paul as an outsider despite him having shown an incredible understanding of pro wrestling in seemingly every way possible. But when it comes to Brady specifically, the calculus is different because of exactly who Brady is. If WWE is presented with the opportunity to get Brady into a ring from or otherwise, the answer has to be yes, because Brady is a bigger name than any other sports figure WWE could possibly bring in. Full stop. There's also the physical reality nobody's ignoring. Brady is a legend at what he did on a football field. That doesn't automatically translate to what wrestlers actually do in a ring. Brady, despite being unmatched in success and longevity as an NFL player, has no real training or familiarity with the physical demands of professional wrestling, taking bumps, selling contact, working a live crowd for 20 minutes. That's a completely different muscle memory than reading a defense at the line of scrimmage. And then there's the elephant in the room that everyone who covered this event kept circling back to. Was any of it even real to begin with? One report zoomed in on the actual contact and noted something a lot of people missed on first watch. Brady removed his hand from the pocket of his camouflage cargo pants and moved to strike. At first glance, it appears Brady slapped Paul across the face, but closer inspection shows that Brady's hand missed the target and only made contact with Paul's shoulder or collar area rather than a clean shot to the face. Whether it landed exactly where it looked like it landed almost doesn't matter at this point. The sound was real. The reaction from Towns was real. The video traveled everywhere, real contact or not, and it did exactly what a wrestling angle is designed to do. It made millions of people ask what happens next. For all intents and purposes, this was an introductory course into kayfabe, the art of blurring the reality lines in professional wrestling. And for the group of us who fancy ourselves fantasy wrestling bookers, we picked up our pencils with one question in mind: what if? Right now nothing is locked in. Paul's arm still needs time. Brady's broadcast schedule still needs navigating. Nick Khan hasn't announced a single match on paper, but a 7-time champion just told a WWE Legends podcast he wants in, slapped a WWE title holder on camera less than a day later, and watched WWE's own account push the clip to millions of screens within hours. If this doesn't end in an actual match, it'll be one of the strangest coincidences in recent memory. And if it does, Tom Brady's first walk to a WWE ring will have started with an open hand, a Nick star caught in the middle, and a guy with a torn tricep yelling at security to get his boy out of there. Sources: Bleacher Report, Tom Brady slaps WWE's Logan Paul in Fanatics Fest video after heated face-off amid beef. Online, Tom Brady reacts to Logan Paul slap video at Fanatics Fest NYC. Yahoo Sports, Tom Brady's brutal one-word response after slapping Logan Paul. Mediaite Watch, Tom Brady slaps Logan Paul in the face at Fanatics Fest. Variety, Tom Brady slaps Logan Paul at Fanatics Fest, calls him a dork and nerd on X. Yahoo Sports, Tom Brady slaps Logan Paul as Karl Anthony Towns watches. Do we care? Yahoo Sports, Karl Anthony Towns left baffled after NFL legend Tom Brady slaps Logan Paul at Fanatics Fest. Just jarred, Tom Brady slaps Logan Paul at Fanatics game, fuels WWE match speculation. Heavy, Patriots legend Tom Brady slaps Logan Paul as WWE rumors swirl. Yahoo Sports CA, Tom Brady slapped Logan Paul. Are we headed toward a WWE showdown between the two? Hollywood Reporter, Tom Brady and Logan Paul get into heated exchange that ends with a slap. But was it fake? Sunday Guardian Live, Tom Brady vs. Logan Paul. NFL legend slaps WWE star at Fanatics Fest 2026. Cageside seats, Tom Brady just slapped WWE star Logan Paul in the face. Heavy, Tom Brady smacks WWE champion at Fanatics Fest. To Z Sports, Tom Brady's slap of WWE star Logan Paul just sent their simmering beef through the roof. Yahoo Sports AU. Tom Brady slaps Logan Paul, expresses desire for a WWE match, https://o sports, yahoo.com/Tom Brady slaps Logan Paul 233,246,867, HTML.